So thank you everyone, and thanks for your patience and thanks for joining us today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. So the title of this talk is Building Intelligent Enterprise Grade Help Desk Bots using Conversational AI. Who am I? I was born and raised in India, came to United States in 2007 for studies. I'm University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book PowerShell for Office 65 and also acted as a technical reviewer for the book ProSharePoint 2013 administration. I am from Washington DC area of United States and we organize a lot of community events in and around Washington DC area. Pre-COVID-19 pandemic, everything used to be in person. Now we have converted all our conferences to virtual only. So if you're interested, we're going to have our next conference focus on Azure data and AI on 12th of November. And you can go to this link to find more information, or you can join any of our meetups. We have meetups targeting various product groups in Microsoft ecosystem. And there also we post the information about latest events and conferences. I am recipient of Antarctic Service Medal, and I'm also recipient of Microsoft MVP Award since 2017. And my current category is AI. And I currently work as Cloud Solution Architect at Applied Information Sciences, where I focus on business process automation, especially using various stacks in the Microsoft ecosystem like Azure AI, bots, Microsoft Power Platform, Microsoft 365, and core Azure services. And I work at AIS Reston office. So AIS has offices throughout the US, in UK, Canada, and India as well. So if you are looking for a change, or if someone in your network is looking for a job opportunity, that candidate can be 100% remote as long as they are located in these four countries. And we are providing services in Microsoft ecosystem from last 40 years, and we have been awarded Microsoft Partner of the Year award in various categories in multiple times. So this is going to be the agenda today. We'll start with why bots, like why we have to spend time learning about bots in general. If you are interested in implementing bots, what are some of the options available to us, like Microsoft Bot Framework. There is also Power Virtual Agent. There's also a third option available now, Dataverse for Microsoft Teams. We'll also talk about Azure Bot Service, how we can get started, what are cognitive services, how you can add intelligence to your bots, demos, key takeaways, and Q&A. Even though I mentioned Q&A towards the end, feel free to ask your questions. I think attendees can unmute themselves. Let me quickly check. And also we have a chat window as well. So whenever you have question, just use any of the feature in Microsoft Teams. You can either use raise your hand or just unmute yourself, ask question, or just post your question in the chat window as well. So let's start with talking about what is AI, because whenever we have to implement bots in the enterprise space, we have to be cautious of what are some of the things we can do, or what are some of the capabilities that we have with AI, so that we can take a cognizance, or we can take a proper decision in terms of what we can automate, or what kind of things we can have a bot to do versus what we cannot do. So when it comes to AI, right? The basic definition of AI, and this is I got from Google's AI researcher, is the effort to automate intellectual tasks normally performed by humans. And whenever we read about AI or talk about AI, a lot of times the first thing that come to our mind is, okay, machines taking over, or machines are so powerful they can travel across galaxy, or they can destroy other planets. So if you have to categorize AI, you can categorize AI into three categories. The first is the strong AI. The second is where the stuff that you see in the movies or the novels, like machines are traveling across the galaxy and destroying other planets. That right now exists only. That is a strong AI. The second part is AGI, where machines are very intelligent and they can perform very complicated tasks. One of the examples I can give you here is, if you have seen Marvel Comics franchise called Iron Man, in that there is a main character called Tony Stark, and Tony has his own personal assistant called Jarvis. Now Jarvis can perform really complicated tasks which are difficult for average human being, and that is categorized under AGI. Right now, both strong AI and AGI only exist in sci-fi movies and novels. Where we are right now is we are at weak AI, where we have specialized services for specialized tasks. Now, one of the service for some reason is not working. Let me quickly see if we can get it working again. All right, is uh, speech to text. That is inbuilt feature available in PowerPoint that we can use, where whatever I'm speaking, if this service is working correctly, that you can see it's real time getting translated to English. And one of the cool thing about this feature is I can go here and I can select a different language as well. So let me see, let's select Hindi here. And if everything is working right, like my internet connection is good, the service is correctly working, then you'll be seeing the subtitles now in Hindi. And as more and more people start using it, these things will get better and better over the time. You will see that maybe this particular service is correctly translating maybe 80 to 90% of the content, but over the course of time, it will get better and better, and then it will be having more and more kind of accuracy. So let me go back and switch back that to the English. To AI, this may be the various terms or concept that you may be hearing, like deep learning, machine learning, natural language processing, speech, robotics, vision. They are all part of the AI. Now, AI is not new to us. We as a human society is using AI since World War II. But why we are seeing a lot of hype and a lot of interest in AI these days is because of the advancement that has happened in computation. Like because of all the latest and greatest technologies that we have available, we can have really powerful machine learning algorithms, and that can help us to build a really sophisticated and powerful applications. Let me quickly start again to see if the subtitles are coming back or not. So this is the mission statement of Microsoft. They would like to make data science and AI accessible to everyone. And it doesn't matter what your role is, what kind of device you're using, and where you are located. And some of the services that you're seeing from Microsoft these days aligns quite well with this mission statement. So when it comes to implementing AI, or let's say if you're serious about using AI in Microsoft ecosystem, the core services are part of Azure AI. Under apps and agent, we have Azure Bot Service and Azure Cognitive Services. Under knowledge mining, we have Azure Cognitive Search. Under machine learning, we have Azure Databricks, Azure Machine Learning, and Azure AI Infrastructure. Now, if you have a background in Microsoft Power Platform, or if you have background in Microsoft 365, you may have heard about SharePoint Syntax or AI Builder of Power Platform. So both SharePoint Syntax and AI Builder behind the scene uses the Azure AI services. So though the Azure AI services are the first party services, that means not only the Microsoft product groups are also using, but also we can also use, and we are basically using the same kind of services there. And if you are interested starting with getting started with AI resources, these are some of the links you can follow, especially if you're interested learning more about cognitive services, bot services. If you would like to dive deep into the machine learning and deep learning, definitely go to the link called aka.ms/ml deep learning. And there is a really good site available from Microsoft called AI School, where you will see a lot of good tutorials available for free that you can go through in case you would like to dive deep into the AI, the applied AI, machine learning, and data science. So if you are a total new to the AI stack in Microsoft ecosystem, this is the flowchart that may help you. This flowchart helped me tremendously when I started exploring Microsoft AI services back in the day. Is like when to use what. So depending on what you would like to do, if you would like to build your own machine learning model, that means if you're a data scientist or if you know how machine learning works, then Azure Machine Learning is for you. And there are, depending on where you would like to code and where you would like to host your model, there are a lot of options available. If you're like me, who does not have a lot of strong background in data science and machine learning, and you are more interested in consuming whatever the services are out there, like pre-trained services, then cognitive services and bots are for you. Now let's talk about why bots, like why we have to invest time learning about or creating bots. So if you notice, like in the last couple of keynotes, the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has he has talked quite extensively that bots are the new apps. Like if you compare that with the mobile apps, like Before iPhone 1 was launched, that was back in 2007, most of the application development or most of the enterprise app were getting built using the traditional desktop app. Then 2007, iPhone 1 came and people liked it. And over the course of time, pretty much everyone started using smartphone, whether they use iPhone or they are some other Android phones. And then slowly you'll see that the smartphone also got introduced into the enterprise space as well. Now, if you join majority of the non-profits or commercial organization on, and also few government organization, they expect that you will be having smartphone and they expect that you will be getting some work done using your smartphone. So same thing will happen with bots as well. If you are following the trends, uh, most of these big organizations like Google or Amazon, they have their own virtual assistants like Alexa or Google Home. And these devices are getting really, really popular, at least in the Northern America. Like if you talk with 10 people, out of 7 or 8 will say, hey, I use Alexa or either I use Google Home. So what you will say is, as and more and more people get comfortable using this kind of voice-based devices, sooner or later you will see the same kind of devices will be sitting at your enterprise as well. And you as a then developer, you as an IT manager, or you as a business analyst, then need to know how these devices work, how to write applications for these devices. Bots also provide you more human natural computer interaction. And one of the key advantage of using bots right now is it helps you to automate repetitive tasks. And again, this is in the context of help desk. Like if you use bots as part of your help desk, then it will help you to automate repetitive tasks and free up your resources. Bots can be available all the time, and also depending on what technology stack you have used in the backend to build the bot, that bot can be available where you are. And also, if the implementation is done right, the bot can adapt to the user depending on the circumstances. But the number one reason why the enterprises are seriously considering bots is because you can use bots for the help desk. Now, if you remember 1 year before, when the COVID pandemic started, especially during the March, April timeframe last year, pretty much all the countries in the world just started shutting down, in the sense companies were asking employees to work from home. Some companies were ready to support the workforce who were working from home, but majority of the companies were not. And guess what? One of the most stressed department that time was the IT help desk, because number one, IT help, the people who are working in IT help desk themselves has to work from home, and if they have kids at home, then they had flexible, they had to work around their schedule. And not only that, they had to also provide support to their workforce. And that's where a lot of companies started using virtual agents or bots as a supplement to the help desk, where if any if any thing that you can any trivial help desk support, if you can automate that using help desk and using the bots, then a lot of companies started doing that, so that their actual help desk personnel can focus on more critical issues that are not easily solvable by the bot. Bots are also appealing, efficient, and easy and natural. And if its implementation is done right, it simplifies the UI. And if you go with Microsoft ecosystem, it supports multiple channels. Now, channels in the context of bots are different as compared to channels in the context of Microsoft Teams. Channels in the context of bot means if I build a bot without writing additional lines of code, with few backend configuration, I can deploy that bot to not only to Microsoft Teams, but other non-Microsoft ecosystem products as well, like Facebook, Slack, Twilio, Kik, Direct Line. And also a bot may help you to connect with the younger users. And we are already familiar with bots in our personal life. Like if you are a customer of a major financial institution like HSBC Bank or Bank of America, Capital One, Citigroup, and if you call their call center number, most of the time the first interaction you will be having is with a voice-based bot who will ask you some questions, and depending on your answer, he or she, that bot may connect you to the actual agent, or they may just provide you with the answer right away. Now slowly bots are getting into enterprise as well. And let's say if you are interested in implementing bots, then in Microsoft ecosystem, we have two options available. One under platform as a service and second under software as a service. So under platform as a service, we have Microsoft Bot Framework, which is an open source SDK and tools, and it's built for the custom bot development. It's ideal for developers. You need to be a dev to use Microsoft Bot Framework. Right now, four major languages are supported, like C Sharp, Node.js, Python, and Java. However, if you would like to deploy your bot using Azure Bot Service, then only C Sharp and Node.js is supported. What does that mean is if you use Java or Python to build your bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, then you have to host that bot yourself. And you can go to this link and find more information about Microsoft Bot Framework. Now there is a new member in the Microsoft Power Platform called Power Virtual Agent, which is available to us as a software as a service, where it provides you a no-code experience for bot development. And it's ideal for business users and domain expert to easily build a bot. Like if you know how this product works, you can have a really enterprise-grade, sophisticated bot within the span of 2 to 3 hours. And behind the scene, it uses Microsoft Bot Framework. As I mentioned, the core core of Microsoft AI services are part of Azure AI. So even though Power Virtual Agent is available to us as a SaaS offering, but behind the scene, it uses the Microsoft Bot Framework itself. But you as a developer or you as a creator of the bots using Power Virtual Agent, you don't have to worry about Microsoft Bot Framework at all. Everything is happened behind the scene. You even don't have to write a single line of code at all. And this is the link you can go and find more information about the Power Virtual Agent. Let me quickly stop this and see if microphone is correct. Yes, everything is correct. Why the subtitles are not working? All right. Let's see, there is some chatter going on in the chat window. All right, looks like, okay, no questions so far. There is also additional tool available. Now this tool will help you to create the bots. It's called Microsoft Bot Framework Composer. It's an open source and it's a really good tool. I highly recommend you to check this tool out because it gives you a visual authoring canvas. It's open source and it's available on GitHub. So where you can this particular tool falls under low code bots where you'll be still writing some code, but you can really minimize the amount of line of code you have to write to create a bot. There is another offering from Microsoft called Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. Now you may be wondering why I'm talking about Teams in the talk about the bots. There is a reason for it. So Microsoft Dataverse for Teams is the low-code data platform which is available for Microsoft Teams. It supports to build low-code, no-code apps, flows, and most importantly, chatbots that can work only within the teams. And one of the key advantage of going with Microsoft Dataverse for Team is the license for it is most likely is already included in most of the existing team licenses. There are few licenses which will not give you the access to Dataverse for Teams, but majority of the commercial licenses will give you the access. So that means if you have like access to Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, you can create chatbots using Power Virtual Agents for free. As long as you have a valid Microsoft Teams license, and also that chatbot will only work inside Microsoft Teams. So this is a really good way, especially if your firm is interested in exploring Power Virtual Agent instead of signing for the full-blown license for it. You can see if your company existing team license can give you access to Microsoft Dataverse for Team. If yes, then you can just start playing with Power Virtual Agent, see whether you really liked it or not. And then decide whether to go with or not. However, one thing I will mention, since this is a free service available to us as part of existing team license, make sure you read the limitations of Dataverse for Team before rolling out this into production, because any free service will always come with some kind of restriction that may bite you really hard, especially if you don't read the limitation and just roll out to your all users. Now, when it comes to the bot, you can follow this pyramid where Microsoft Bot Framework and Azure Bot Service is the core where everything is based on, and Power Virtual Agent sits on the top of it. And there is a really good integration story available between these two products where let's say you have a mixed team, team of developers and team of power users, and team of developers created some custom bots using Microsoft Bot Framework, and team of power users created custom bots using Power Virtual Agent. Then you can integrate those two bots. That means one bot can call another bot using something called bot framework skills. It really helps into the collaboration effort when it comes to implementing the chatbots or bots in your organization. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Power Virtual Agent. It's just additional one of the newest member of the Microsoft Power Platform, and we can use that to create the intelligent help desk bot without writing a single line of code. And behind the scene, it is built using Azure Bot, Microsoft Bot Framework. It uses Azure Cognitive Services to add intelligence to it. It is hosted in Azure Bot Service, and it has a really good integration story with other Microsoft Power Platform product. So through Power Virtual Agent, we can call Power Automate. And since we can call natively like Power Automate to Power Virtual Agent, all the connectors that are available with Power Automate, we can consume or use that in the Power Virtual Agent. So that's a really good option available to us, especially if you would like to consume any external API, or if you would like to integrate your chatbot with any other SaaS offering or SaaS service or any other Microsoft offering or product. You can do that via a Power Virtual Agent without writing, Power Automate without writing a single line of code. And behind the scene, it built on the bot framework, and it also uses all the AI services that it needs to make your bot intelligent. And again, you as a creator of the bot using Power Virtual Agent doesn't have to worry about it at all. And it gives you a visual authoring canvas here where you can start implementing your business logic. And if you are interested in Power Virtual Agent, I highly recommend you go to this link and find more information about it. Especially if your organization has a mixture of audience, mixture of employees, some are pro devs, some are power users, then power users can definitely take advantage of Power Virtual Agents and create really sophisticated enterprise grade bots. When it comes to the Dataverse for Teams, you will be creating the chatbots within the Teams client itself. That way, you don't have to leave the team client. You just create your chatbot. Only caveat is that chatbot will only work inside Microsoft Teams. Now, the core of the bots in Microsoft ecosystem is Microsoft Bot Framework. So when you use Microsoft Bot Framework, you will be building your custom bot, and your custom bot will be available as a web service, or let's call it as a bot web service. And then if you have to add any kind of intelligence in your bot, then you have to integrate that with something called Microsoft Cognitive Services, which are pre-trained AI services. However, let's say if you're not a Microsoft shop or you don't want to use Microsoft Cognitive Services, you can also integrate your own AI services as long as those AI services are available as REST endpoint. What does that mean is, let's say if you like the Google's AI services, or if you like Amazon's AI services, or if you have your own proprietary AI services, you can also use that in your bot. And once your bot is ready, then you will deploy that bot to various channels or various devices. And your bot will be constantly exchanging messages between these channels. So if you have done any kind of web development, and if I had to oversimplify what a bot is nothing but a website with a different kind of user interface. So if you have done any kind of website development, the same concept goes here, where you need to find a host where your bot will be located. And then your bot needs to be accessible via a specific URL, and then whatever the device or whatever the channel you have deployed to, then you will be constantly integrating with your bot or talking with your bot. Only thing is the user experience will be different here as compared to traditional websites or the mobile devices. There are a lot of channels supported. Some of the channels are free, some are premium, but to find the latest and greatest information about the channels, always check out the Microsoft documentation. Now that brings us the interesting question. If I go with Microsoft Bot Framework and if I had to create a custom bot, where can I host the bot? Because I get this question a lot, and a lot of time whenever I talk about bots is there's a lot of confusion with people where they think that since if you're using Microsoft Bot Framework, then I have to host my bot in Azure using Azure Bot Service. That's not true. Azure Bot Service is the recommended service. However, you can host the bot yourself as well in other VMs. That virtual machine can be in Azure, or it can be in any other public cloud, or it can be in your own data server as well. In fact, you can also co-locate that with on-premise server. I have seen some implementation where the customer has on-premise SharePoint and they wanted to use the chatbots. So they decide to co-locate chatbots within their SharePoint infrastructure itself. So that's also a possible. Of course, if you go with your own VMs, then you have to do some additional work to make sure you install all the required packages and tools to support the bot. If you go with Azure Bot Service, it's just very quick, easy, and quick to configure using Azure Portal. And as long as you pay the money, Microsoft will take care of everything, all the things that needs to happen in the backend and its maintenance. So when it comes to the bot development, this is a typical flowchart that we need to follow because bot development is kind of new if you compare that with traditional web development or mobile app development. Like the majority of the time you'll be spending is planning. Like you have to plan what kind of dialogues will be there. You have to design the design. You have to spend time on designing the design cards, the visual experience. Once you have that, then you can use Bot Builder SDK, and you can use, or I highly recommend to use any kind of AI services, because without AI services, your bot will nothing but like a regular website with just a different kind of user interface. To add a human intelligence to your bot, you need to use AI services. Now, one of the options available to us is Microsoft Cognitive Services, which are pre-trained services. However, you can also use your own proprietary services or AI services from other cloud vendors as well. There are a lot of templates available that will help you to get started. Then there is a really good tool, open source and cross-platform tool available called Emulator, which we can use to test the bot locally on your machine. You can highly recommend to use analytics tool, something like Application Insights. Again, Application Insights are optional. You can also use your own third-party tool or any other tool, as long as you're tracking the analytics. That's the main goal here. And then you publish that bot. When it comes to publishing, recommended is you use Azure Bot Service. But let's say if you don't want to use Azure, you can also use your own web host as well. And then you connect your bot to various devices or channels. And then this is the last part where you'll be spending a lot of time, where once your bot is live and your users are interacting with it, constantly track the analytics, like whether the users are really enjoying or talking with the bot, whether they are having any issues or whether they're just dropping the conversation of the bot because the bot is not giving them the information that you're looking for. And then based on that analytics and feedback, then you go ahead and again implement changes, and this cycle continues. So when it comes to creating bots, these are my personal thoughts. But before I go, let me see if anyone has any questions so far. Okay, I take that as a no. So if you're sure that if you are going to use Azure Bot Service to host your bot, then I recommend that you start with Azure Portal first, configure your bot there, deploy your bot. And once your bot is deployed, then download the source code from Azure Portal and then start implementing the customization. Now, I have my own reasons for it. The reason is, if you go with this option or this approach, then already your bot, a bot with, let's say, a hello world message is already deployed into your Azure Portal. That means you pretty much sure at that point that there are no issues with the access and there is no issues with the production rollout. And then also, everything is already configured properly for you once you download the source code from Azure Portal. The another option is, if you're not going to use Azure Bot Service, then you can start locally on your machine, and depending on your language choice, like whether you go with C# or Node.js or Java or Python, you just have to use a different IDs and tool and approaches to create that bot. Now, one thing is, if you decide to host your bot using Azure Bot Service, then only 2 languages are supported right now. That means you have to either select C# or Node.js. When it comes to adding intelligence, highly recommend that you add intelligence using cognitive services. And cognitive services are nothing but pre-trained AI services available to us. Those are available to us as part of the REST-based API. And all you need is create a service in Azure Portal, get the key, and you can start infusing intelligence in your application. Cognitive services are flexible. You can use that with any language or any platform of your choice, as long as that language and platform supports the consumption of REST-based API. There's a really good documentation available on GitHub, on Microsoft Docs as well. And if you have any questions, you can always ask those on Stack Overflow. And Microsoft is paying people to monitor the Stack Overflow and provide you the answer in timely manner. So these are some of the conversational AI tools which are part of cognitive services that you may be hearing a lot, or you may have read on Microsoft literature, like the language understanding intelligence service, Azure Search, Q&A Maker, Bing Speech API, speaker recognition API, translator, custom speech service. So what I will do next is I will be now going into the demo part of the talk where I'll be showing how easy it is to create a working bot by using some of the conversational AI offerings in Microsoft ecosystem. So before I jump into the demo section, let me know if anyone has any questions or comments. Okay, I take that as a no. So what you need to do is use your this is not the right one. All right, let me pull this here, and okay, and let me bring the chat. Okay, so use your favorite browser and favorite search engine and just search for Microsoft Q&A Maker. And the reason I'm especially focusing my demo on Q&A Maker, because there are a lot of use cases you can do where you can use Q&A Maker as part of your existing help desk, where you can create a working bot using Q&A Maker service, and you can offload the maintenance of it with devs and also with some business users as well. And also the steps the demo I'm doing, you can also follow the steps along with me, especially if you're seeing this service for the first time. Only thing is you need access to Azure for this one. So just click on sign in here. And once you sign in, then it will give you once you sign in, then you will come back to the Q&A Maker portal. And the way Q&A Maker work is you need to create a knowledge base, and you can create that knowledge base from your existing content, or you can also add the new content as well. And what are some of the form of existing content is, if your company's intranet or if your company's public facing website has some frequently asked questions about employee policies or other benefits, or your company is in the business of creating products, and that product specific information is available on company's public facing website, or you have some information available as part of the Word document or text document or Excel, we can use that. So first thing is we need to create a knowledge base. So to do that, just click create on the top. And then when it comes to this, we had to use a service that will be hosted in Azure for this knowledge base. Now, right now we have two options, either go with stable and preview. I'm going to go with stable. And then we need to click on this button to create a new service for us. And again, creating this service doesn't take much time. And if you are looking at Azure portal for the first time, it's just a bunch of configuration things we have to do and nothing really complicated here. So now we are in the Azure portal and we are creating the Q&A Maker service here. So the first thing is you need to use the subscription name, correct subscription. So I'm going with the correct subscription here. Then the resource group and the name, let's call it as global AI back together Pune 2021, and the pricing tier. So every subscription will have option where you can create a free service using the F0 option. However, you can use this only once per subscription. So if you already use this once, then you have to go with the paid one, which is S0. So I highly recommend you start with free service. That way you don't get charged, especially if you are playing this for the first time. Then you have to provide the location for the search. So in Azure or in any other public cloud, make sure that the resources you're creating are located in the same geographical location where majority of your users will be based. So in my case, since I'm from East Coast of United States, I'll be going with East US. And again, search pricing tier, I'll be going with free. Then the app service details, again, I'll be going with the same location where the other resources are. Same thing with the application inside. Then I'll click review and create, and this should create the Q&A maker service with, okay, looks like I have already used the free tier once for the search. So I had to go with the basic, which is a paid version. So let's go and click create here. And now it's validating, and this survey should get created within the span of next 30 to 60 seconds, depending on my internet speed. So while this service is getting created, let me know if you have any questions or comments in the chat window. Okay, I take it as a no. Okay, it's almost done. And then once this is done, we'll go back to the Q&A maker portal and start configuring other things. All right, so the deployment was successful. Let's go back and let's go here in the step 2 and do refresh. So this will help us this portal to get the latest information about all the Q&A maker service that are available in Azure portal. Then select the appropriate Microsoft Azure directory ID and then select the correct subscription name where you just created your Q&A maker service. And here in the drop down, then you'll be getting, okay, this is the Q&A maker service I just created. Now, sometimes you'll get this message, especially if you just create the service right brand new. You may need to wait additional 1 to 10 minutes before everything gets configured in the backend. So we'll give it another go. If it does not happen, then I have already created another service which we can use for the demo. Let's go here and click back together. Let's do refresh one more time. Okay, perfect. The backend thing is done. So now we have to select the language. Now it is very important while creating a knowledge base to select the appropriate language. So right now, for the chit chat and extraction, following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 languages are supported. When it comes to only extraction, there are many other languages are also there, including Urdu is there, some of the local languages from India like Tamil is there, Telugu is there, then yep, and Bengali is also there. So what is the difference between extraction only and chit chat is if the Q&A maker portal gives you an additional option where you can select the persona for your knowledge base. That means, let's say, and the personas are available in the form of witty, friendly, caring, no, and professional. So depending on the persona you select, the service will add some predefined questions and some predefined answers for that. And that you don't have to configure by yourself. But however, if you would like to use persona or chit chat, then only these many languages are supported. So let's go with English this time. And let's call create a knowledge base. Now, since we are going through the COVID-19 pandemic, let's use that as an example. So I'll be calling it as Global AI Back Together COVID-19 FAQs. Then the next, and this is the most important step, is how you would like to populate your knowledge base. Now, when it comes to population, there are multiple options available. You can provide .tsv file, PDF file, doc file, docx, Excel file. You can also provide the link to your SharePoint site if you have information there. This will just ask you to authenticate if that SharePoint site is behind a firewall and you need to authenticate, you need to log in to access the content. Or you can also provide a URL which is publicly available. Let's say you have some information which is not publicly available. You can always download that on your machine and use this option, add a file, and add that file from your machine. So what I'll do is I will just quickly go to US government's site and get the frequently asked questions around the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is the site we have, and this is where you'll see all the information available. And if I expand, then there is some government specific information is available. What we need to do, depending on your country or depending on kind of thing you're targeting in your knowledge base, you can select a different site. Only thing you have to keep in mind is the site or the page you're selecting should have information in the form of available to us in the form of question and answer. That's the only requirement. Now go here and add this. And when it comes to the persona, again, depending on what your target audience is going to be, you can select any of them. I'll be going with witty. And then that's it. And just click on create knowledge base. Again, this step will take maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and it all depends on how many question and answers are there in this particular page. The service is now reading the content from that page and then creating the content in the form of question answers to us. So while this is happening, let me know if you have any questions or comments in the chat window. Right, so that part is done. And now we are in the knowledge base where you can see this particular service has scanned this page from the cdc.gov, and whatever the information was there, it has extracted in the form of question and answers. And also it's providing us the source, like from where exactly this information is coming from. Now, when it comes to this question and answers, I can update this question. I can also update the answers. When it comes to updation of the answers, I can use some formatting. I can add some images. I can also add some links. And also I can add my own Q&A pair as well. So for example, if I had to add any custom other question, I can do that. I can also add the follow-up prompt. One of the cool thing about using this service is if you look at its URL, it's qnamaker.ai. So it has AI services built behind the scene where if I expose this service as part of a bot, I don't have to explicitly ask the same question, like, or the same exact match to match for this. Like I can ask the same question, can you tell me about COVID-19 as well? And since it's using AI services in the backend, it will try to understand what my intent is, and then it will give you, make its assumption, or not, assumption is not right word, make its best guess and then give me the answer. So one of the cool first thing you're gonna do is just click on save and train. And once that is done, then we will quickly test this out and see whether this is working or not. So let's call it as what is COVID-19. And if the service is working correctly, then it should show me this answer here. And now I will be rephrasing this question a little bit. Can you tell me about COVID-19? And see if it can come with some answers or not. So if you like what you saw, the next thing you have to do is you have to just click on publish here and publish this service. So now we are publishing this service, and once the service is published or this knowledge base is published, now we can access this knowledge base using multiple options. So the number one option you see on the portal is we can create a bot, custom bot from this one, and that bot will already be integrated with this knowledge base. But let's say if I don't want to create a bot, I can still use this service as part of a REST endpoints. For example, if I have written any custom Node.js application or a .NET application, and I would like to use this knowledge base, and I don't want to create a bot, I want to create a traditional desktop app or mobile app, I can still use this service. This is the way you have to make the calls to this particular service. As I mentioned, Q&A Maker service is part of the Cognitive services, and all the Cognitive services are available to us as form of REST APIs. So this is the your host is going to be. This is going to be your service URLs followed by /knowledge, then your GUID and generate answer. And this is going to be your authorization key. Make sure you don't share that with anyone, since this session is going to get recorded or recorded. I will be basically deleting this knowledge base after the session. Then this is the format you have to mention your question. And if you make the call and let's say if everything is correct, then you will get answer back. And again, this is the sample code available to us, which is we can use in Postman. And if you would like to use curl, then this sample is also available to us. Now, if you would like to create the bot from this service, all you have to do is click on this button and it will launch Azure portal. And here we just have to configure a few things, and then we will have our bot ready in the next 1 or 2 minutes here. So it already got the handle. It just used the same name of the Q&A maker service and added a hyphen bot. You can change. You can always change this. Then subscription. It has automatically select the same subscription and same resource group where I have created the Q&A maker service. The location also it has selected the same location where my Q&A service is hosted. Pricing tier, just like a Q&A maker service and other services, the two tiers are available. F0 is for free, and then there's S1. Only limitation is you can use free service once per subscription. I have already used that, so I'll be going with S1. And then the app name, and this will give you a clue, right? Your bot will have a dedicated website address. Like this is going to be the address of your bot, which is whatever the name you have given, .azurewebsite.net. And since we are using Azure Bot Service, we have to select either of these two languages, C# or Node.js. I'll be going with C#. Then the Q&A maker key is already added by this particular URL for us. The application insight, and then this is optional. You can configure this later as well. So we're going to do that later and just like click create. And this should, if everything is correct, then this should start creating the bot, and this deployment will be over in span of 1 to 2 minutes, depending on your internet speed and some of the backend services. So this is a good time to ask any questions. I think we have 15 more minutes. So once this is deployment is done, we will go to the Azure portal and start looking at some of the features of the bots and some of the other things in the Azure portal itself. All right, the bot deployment was successful. Let's go to the resource here. And here you can see we have information. So this is going to be the messaging endpoint of our bot. This is the app service it's using. Now let's quickly click on check the settings. So if you look at the bot profile here, you can provide a custom icon for your bot and also provide a display name. Make sure you have a proper display name for your bot. Again, you cannot change the bot handle because that you can do only once when you configure it, but display name you can always update that. Then if you click on the channels, whenever you deploy the bot for the first time, that bot is always available as a web chat. And then on this page, then you can configure some other channels as well. As you can see, feature channel, direct line, and Teams are there, and then some more channels available like Alexa, GroupMe, Skype, Twilio, direct line speech, Kik, Slack, email, Line, Telegram, Facebook, Outlook, telephony as well. So what I'll do is I'll quickly configure it for Microsoft Teams. Only thing I had to configure while using this with Microsoft Teams is what kind of tenant I'll be using, whether it's going to be commercial or government. In my case, it's going to be commercial. So let's quickly save this, agree to the terms of service, and our bot will be available now to the Microsoft Teams as well. So before testing this bot in Microsoft Teams, let's quickly test this bot in the web chat, which is available to us in the Azure portal itself. So here, if I go and if everything, like all the backend and everything is working fine, I should be able to talk with this bot. And if the integration with the Q&A maker service is working, then I should be able to get some information from Q&A service as well. So let me start with what is COVID-19. And if everything is working fine, we will get the answer from the Q&A maker service itself. Now let me go back to the Q&A maker service and just show you a few things about it. So as I mentioned, we use a specific chit chat persona. So let me show you like what does that persona does. Depending on what persona you select, Microsoft will add some predefined questions and its answers as well. And you can also edit this. And this is the source that it's using. You can download this. If I go to the settings here, and if I scroll down, I should be able to download this and start export this and start making changes in it as well. Now let's go back to the Azure portal here and let's close this. And now let's see how easy it is to start interacting with this bot. So as I mentioned, whenever you deploy a bot for the first time in Azure, it's available as a web chat. And let's see if I had to go here and if I had to add this bot as an iframe on any other site, all I had to do is just copy this code and just get uh, the secret key. Again, make sure you're not sharing your secret key with anyone else. And then this bot should be available to us as an iframe as well, which we can host anywhere. That includes, you can host that in SharePoint or any other site, as long as that site or that particular uh, content management system allows you to host the iframe. So now this bot is available to me here. If you see at the bottom of the page, the chat, the text box is there. If everything is right, then yes, I should be able to interact with this bot here. Now the next thing is we can also interact with this bot using Microsoft Teams. So far, we haven't done any kind of major configuration changes. So let me just copy the link address and go to my Microsoft 365 account. And I should be able to interact with this bot without any additional configuration at all. So this is a really good way to quickly test how exactly your bot is working with Microsoft Teams. All I need is unique identifier or unique handle name, and I should be able to start interacting with this bot using Microsoft Teams. So let's just wait for the message. If everything is working right, then we should get perfect the message. Let's post our question. All right, so this bot is working as expected in Microsoft Teams, but however, we haven't done any kind of configuration at all. Like if you would like to make this bot available through in your organization to all the users, and if you would want them to search by name and not by the unique identifier, then you have to do some additional configuration changes in your Microsoft 365 tenant. However, we're not going to do that because that will take some time. The next thing I want to show you is if you click on the overview. So far, we haven't written a single line of code and we have a working bot. Now let's say if I have to implement some additional changes in it, I just click on the overview page here and click on the download source code button. Now what this particular button is doing is it's creating the source code that Microsoft has used to deploy this bot. And once that file is ready, we can download it. And depending on what language we selected for Azure Bot Service, whether it's C# or Node.js, then we can use any of the IDs and then start implementing the customization. So once the source file is ready, let me go ahead and download this. And all right, let me go ahead and paste it in a location where I can quickly unzip it. Okay, extract all. All right, so this is the location where I unzip that particular zip file. And if I open this particular solution file, since I use a C#, I'll be using Visual Studio, on the full-blown Visual Studio. And now I will have access to the source control and I can start implementing changes in the bot. I can run this bot locally. I can test this bot locally using the bot framework emulator. So if I go here and expand this, I'll be seeing the predefined code available to me that this bot is using, and I can start implementing the customization in it. Any questions or comments so far? If I don't want to use the Q&A maker service, the other option available to me is I can just quickly go to Visual Studio and start using the templates. There are a lot of templates available, there is an Echo template. There are some virtual assistant template is also there that you can use. So since we have 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left, let me quickly cover a few other things. So what are some of the things you can do with bot framework, especially in the enterprise scenarios? As I mentioned, help desk are the number one. You can also create some other systems as well, like room booking system, meeting booking system, intelligent search. You can use that for search as well. You can create recommendation engine. So once you implement for help desk, then you can, I have seen this a lot, is once you introduce your bot for the first time to your users, then they themselves will come up with some options or ideas like how, where we can use bot, what are some of the scenarios where we can supplement bots with actual human employees. So if you are serious about using bots in your organization, then these are my personal thoughts where when it comes to comparing Power Virtual Agents and Microsoft Bot Framework, where what I have seen is Power Virtual Agents are very easy to use and power users and IT pros can create bots very easily without writing a single line of code. If you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, it's a steep learning curve. And again, I didn't show you a lot of code here because my idea was to give you more kind of overall understanding what's out there. And let's say if you're a pro dev, then you can just go to the Microsoft Bot Framework documentation site, and there are like tons of code samples available and how-to guides are available. When it comes to the target audience, Bot Framework is for developers. When it comes to maintenance and enhancements, it's really easy when it comes to Power Virtual Agent. When it comes to Bot Framework, you have to do some additional work. When it comes to using AI services, so Power Virtual Agent uses all the AI services behind the scene. You as a creator of the bot or developer of the bot don't have to worry about it at all. Whereas we saw while creating the bot, we had to first create the Q&A maker service. And let's say if you had to add in Iluways or some other cognitive services, you have to first create the service, integrate that with your bot yourself. There's a lot of work that needs to happen upfront. There's the inbuilt support for analytics is available as form of in the form of Power BI dashboard. Whereas to use the analytics, I had to use something like App Insights. Again, App Insights is optional. You can also use your own proprietary or third-party analytics tracking tool as well. However, Power Virtual Agents are available to us as a software as a service offering, and they are a little bit expensive to begin with. Since a lot of things are pretty already built for you, it's a little bit on the expensive side. Whereas if you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, it's a little bit inexpensive to begin with. However, you have to do a lot of upfront work before you can have a working bot. So if you would like to get your hands dirty with Power Virtual Agent, and if you don't have access, there's a really good program available from Microsoft called Microsoft 65 Developer Program, where you just have to go to this link, sign up for it, and with that program, you can get your personal Microsoft 65 E5 subscription for free. And that subscription will come with 25 users. And 25 users will have E5 license, which is the highest level of license, and you will be a global admin. And this tenant will be valid for 90 days. And with that, you also get Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. You can also sign up for the free trial of Power Virtual Agent as well. This tenant will give you Microsoft 65 services like Exchange, SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automate, Microsoft Teams, Planner, etc. And after 90 days, if you're still using this tenant for personal training and development, Microsoft will automatically increase your trial period for additional 90 days. And they will keep on doing it as long as this program is valid, available, and you are using this tenant for personal training and development. You can also sign up for 1 month trial. However, for that, you need to use your personal credit card. When it comes to using cognitive service, and if you would like to host your bot in Azure, you had to have an Azure subscription. Now, how you can get access to personal Azure subscription? There are multiple ways. The recommended one is if you have access to MSDN, go to your MSDN portal and see if your MSDN subscription colleague gets you a free monthly credits. And if you do, then just go to the portal and click activate. The other option available to you is you can sign up for the free trial. Now, depending on your country, you get some predefined credits for free. However, you need to use a credit card with that. You can also sign up for Azure for Students, where you don't need a credit card. All you need is a valid educational account. And if your school is participating in Azure for Student program, then depending on your country, you get some predefined credit. And you can go to this link to find more information about Azure for Student. So hopefully the content we covered today made you explore the bots and cognitive services. You'll go home and play with it. And if you don't have access for Power Virtual Agent or any other Microsoft 65 or Power Platform product, definitely check out the Microsoft 65 Developer Program. So with that, we come to an end. These are my contact details. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm also available on LinkedIn, Twitter. With that, thanks for coming. Stay safe and stay healthy, and let me know if you have any questions.